Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on. All right!
This is Doomcast number 48. My name's Doug Owens.
Sorry.
Charlie McGrath's over there, sweating as we speak.
Naked and sweating.
Half naked, not all the way naked.
Virtually nude.
Virtually nude. It's a good thing that, the Doom Bunker has a little bit of separation between Charlie and myself here, so that we don't have to...
You know, Owen. You know you do.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Hey, that.
Happy Independence Day Eve.
Whatever. I mourn the loss of the Republic, my friend.
238 years, my friend, that we had a pretty good run, right?
Yeah, we had a good run. Now we're doing something a little bit different.
Doing something a little bit different. That's a very good way to put it.
I hope you and the rest of the Doomers have just wonderful plans. You got a new family. You got a little boy. I hope you're planning on having a bunch of steak and some beer and just have a good old time this weekend. And that goes for all the Doomers as well. This is the third day of July as we jump into Doomcast number 48, Doug Owen.
Number 48, almost 52 of them, almost a year under our belts.
Krager wants to hear some Jesus. It's my new song. I am going to branch out and become a Christian rocker. I've decided.
There might be a
Jesus.
Yeah, there might be a market for that.
Yeah. Loves me.
There was recently a pretty interesting documentary about some of those groups, and the long short of it is that most of them are not. Yeah, I'm getting text from Craig here, the producer Craig33 on Twitter.
He's the Doomcast guru, and he's wearing a smoking sweet shirt.
Yeah,
right now.
He's got a new shirt. You can go to blacklistednation.com and pick yourself up one of those. We have a new Doomcast mug, Charlie McGrath.
We do?
Yeah, go there. Check it out right now.
Man.
Let's sell some Doomcast coffee mugs.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna kick it off with this because we did this last week and I really liked it. I just jumped right into to make sure we get them in. Sarah Kay, I freaking love. She's another monthly contributor. Every single month she's giving us some dough. Dropped us to $20. Sarah, so you know, there is a high probability that I will be traveling to your neck of the woods fairly soon. I know you guys are being just thudded with tornadoes, and I have customers in your region. So if I come down there, I definitely will let you know. You and your husband can go have a beer, and I can thank you in person for your absolutely magnanimous support. I want to say this too, Doug. Sorry to dominate here, but Portland, if you're listening in the Portland area, I will be in your neck of the woods. Sorry, Craig, I thought it was going to be Seattle again, but it's going to be Portland next week. I'll be there Tuesday, spending Tuesday night, flying back to Bozeman on Wednesday. So if there's some Doomers out there that are following the program and are going to be available, I will make myself available to meet and greet. So just let me know at info@wideawakenews.com. Please subject it Doomcast, and I will respond. I had another contribution as well, Doug, and I'm going to slowly delay while I look for it.
That's okay. Yeah. We've had a pretty interesting week today. We have reached 17,000 on the Dow. It's the big excitement. It's the fireworks that the economy needs, the sparks of a revolution.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Listen. Sparks of a revolution. I'm with you. Oh my gosh! I almost knocked over my libation here.
Look, people are upset that there's not enough excitement in the economic world or the economic news media about the jobs. Why can't Fox News get excited about this jobs report? There's more people apparently working than.
What do you think of that? What do you think? I want your opinion on that.
I think that we have a record 92 million people
that
are not working right now. So it's.
I was hoping we could argue.
Yeah.
I was hoping we could argue, and you would be all like optimistic and hey, we jobs, blah blah, 17,000, and I was gonna just pounce on you like a Doomcast hawk.
There's a lot of people out there. They're just doing their own thing, and I don't want to out anybody, but there's a lot of stuff that you can do that doesn't require you to be part of the per se job force.
Yeah, it's called disability.
Well, not just that. I mean, entrepreneurs not part of the job force doesn't mean that you're broke and you're not gainfully employed.
Drug
It
runner.
could, I guess the optimism or the hoptimism would be that people are getting into, other businesses or trying to start up their own businesses. At least some of them think that, it's harder and harder to live to be a wage slave.
Yeah.
16% higher this year across the board on products for your July 4th, Independence Day barbecue.
Yeah.
So pretty unprecedented. I mean, the amounts of money that we're spending now on food, that's only going to
get worse.
Continue, to get.
And ergo, what was it vis-a-vis last week, or was it? It was apropos. Ergo, the reason why I'm branching out into Christian rock. I want to diversify my income streams.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus.
It might work. I mean, there's a niche out there for people.
Hey, listen. And for those. Yeah, and those sitting that are sitting in the chat room, and you heard me and Doug talking a little bit before the program. By the way, Doug, tell them where they can go to listen to the pre-show banter. If they next week on Doomcast 39 or 49 rather, if they want to join the pre-show banter, where's that at?
I think the best way to do it is just be around Wednesday evening or possibly Thursday evening around 8 p.m. That's usually what we do. One of the 2 days.
At Doomcast.com, right?
Yeah, /live. You'll be in the chat room and you'll get the player to automatically play when the show's live. You might have to refresh the player, but it's pretty intuitive, pretty easy to use. Doomcast.com, getting a lot of new and independent content. A lot of stuff that you guys have been posting. Craig's been posting a little bit on there as well. So we're going to have pictures of the shirt and I think maybe even Craig with his camouflage cowboy hat.
I like it.
I love it. We should sell those.
We should sell those. And what I was getting at was before the program, we were talking about you had some cool music going there, and I'm not sure who was it.
Pantera.
Right? And I was talking about Stryper, the Christian rock band that when I was in the 80s, I think they were late 80s, early 90s, and that was the rage for a while. And we were talking a little bit about you were talking a little bit about you read something on what happened to these guys or where are they now type of thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, as much as you might be doing it because of your Christian faith, when you're kind of selling yourself in the message and trying to use your music to not only reach people but to make money,
right?
It's pretty hard.
Yeah, well, the dudes and the ladies that were in
down and they start turning evil.
Whores. Sorry, that was inappropriate completely.
completely.
But look at the audience, right?
Don't preach to me, fatso.
Yeah. The audience is really captive, and they're usually an audience that has some disposable income. So I think those Christian band, Christian country, Christian rock, I think they do pretty dang well. And there's still a big industry. I was talking
parents selling that. They're like, okay, this is okay for my kids to listen to. I'm going to buy that. I want them.
But most of them just suck. That's the problem.
Music, yeah.
Yeah, the problem was always that they're not good. They're not good. And if they were, I hate to say this because I'm a Christian, but if they were good, they would be selling out to the establishment music industry. That isn't in every case, and I'm thinking of one, which is Michael W. Smith, super duper talented, very much super duper wealthy also because he is so good. He has followers in, I guess, secular as well as Christian rock or Christian music, but most of them are just okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my rant. That's my rant on Christian music.
It's almost as good as the YouTube rant. Almost.
Yeah, not quite. Not quite as good. Not quite as topical. But what was on my mind. And I want to jump into a little bit. I want to do some little inside Doomcast baseball, if you don't mind.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, I noticed, you noticed, you and I had a little Skype convo last night on the topic, and I just want to remind everybody that listens to Doomcast, and thank you to everybody. We're a couple thousand every week who are downloading just on YouTube, and so I don't know what to times that by, times 3, times 4.
Oh my God!
Times 3, times 4 for the overall downloads, and there is a good following to this program. And when Doug and I started this, it was never intended to be this serious analysis program where we broke down and looked at every headline of the day, and because we do that. Doug, you have an excellent podcast that you do, Blacklist News Radio. You have an awesome website, one of the best in independent media, because you dedicate so much time to it. So, and I have a radio program that runs 5 nights a week. I usually do a couple of programs a week on it, and I have a website. And so the serious nature of what we do 5 nights a week, including whatever day we're doing podcasts, is always there. I do the videos. You do the things I mentioned before. This has always been an outlet valve for myself, for Doug, and more importantly, for you, the listening audience. And you know what? Sometimes you're going to get 50 headlines, and we're going to break them down, and it's going to seem like an analysis program. And that's fine. And sometimes you're going to get me sitting here, scantily clad, sweating in every part of my body, talking about Christian rock music, because that's what's on my mind. And that is, just a conversation I feel like having. And that's kind of what this program is about. I want to get on here, BS with my buddy Doug. I want to BS with the audience. I want to thank the people who are contributing to keep this thing going, and have a good time. And I want the listeners to have a good time. And it is compelling. So for some people, they're going to hate it. I think the majority of the people that listen and continue to keep coming back, it is compelling. Sit back and just take your mind out of your body. Take your brain out of your body for an hour and 15, and just listen and try to know you're listening to like-minded people that try to vent and blow off a little bit of steam and laugh, maybe, hopefully, a little bit, and then get some truth mixed in there with it. Then take that recording or that video and give it to people you care about, and hopefully, it's entertaining enough that it draws people toward the truth. But inevitably, this program is not going to be all serious and curmudgeon-y. I felt like that you and I had to have a conversation about it and remember what it was all about, and we did, and I feel good about it. You, Doug Owen?
I do as well. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Yeah, I do as well. I think that one of the things a lot of people do want is analysis. They want us to break down and unpack some of the news, current items, and I think it's important to do that. And I think that we have conversations about topics beyond just our own personal lives and just kind of BSing and shooting the breeze. But at the same time, that's kind of what it's about, the lighter side of impending doom, and kind of pointing out the hilarity in all of it. If you can't laugh at, I think that ultimately we're doing pretty good for the amount of crazy people that dominate the discussion.
Amen.
In the politic body's ear. So we do a good job.
I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. And I don't know anybody who holds down a job like you do and works harder than you do to keep that serious information, that
Both!
Play that again, because it got cut off. I think it was funny.
Both!
What is he saying?
Both.
Okay, I thought you were BS.
I choose both!
But my point was that if your only exposure to Doug Owen and Charlie McGrath is Doomcast, you might come away some Doomcast thinking we're a couple of clowns. And I'm glad, because I want to be kind of clown-esque at this hour during the week. Obviously I want to cover some real topics, but I want to have fun too, and I want people to smile. And that's because, to me, if you don't have that and all you're doing is shoving your head into the news of the day and trying to break it down and analyze it, then you will burn yourself out. And that goes for people listening and for people producing i.e., us. If we spend all of our time too serious, then we get to the point where nothing becomes fun. And you know what? We deserve to have a little bit of fun, Doug Owen.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, agreed. I like your new voice. Bum, 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 Jesus. I'm working on this new tune. So far, I've got two chorus. Jesus and loves me.
You gotta mix guns in there somewhere, and then it's a
Jesus wants a 45.
Yeah, Jesus and his AK-47.
I got a gun story.
I bet you. Yeah, well, let's hear it.
I got a gun story, Doug Owen.
I've been seeing some of the videos, AK-47, and I saw one with
blowing the crap out of ice.
Yeah, what was that all about?
Here's the deal, and that's my story. This is embarrassing, and this is what you get on Doomcast. You're going to get everything. You're going to get the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is the ugly. I had it all planned out. My brother is staying with me this week. My brother and my sister-in-law. She's going for a master's degree, and she's doing her argument for her master's this week. So it's been all this serious sitting back and listening to her presentation an hour a night. And God bless her. She's smarter than anybody I know. But, it's really uptight, and it's really, how much can you possibly listen to about the blue heron and its mating habit? That's what we're doing. So Monday, I decided... Yeah, the blue heron. I know everything there is to know about it. If you ever have a question, Doug, ask me. The blue heron, Monday night, I have my brother here, and I have my son here. And I decide, okay, I've got an idea. I'm going to go buy some solid blocks of ice. I am going to grab my Mosin Nagant, and I'll give the calibers as I rattle off these guns here. Mosin Nagant, my 7.62 by 54. I'm going to grab my son's Remington, which is a 308, 7.62 by 51. I'm going to grab my AR-15, 5.56. I'm going to grab my AK-47, 7.62. I'm going to grab my AK-74, 5.45. What am I forgetting? That I believe. Yeah, and I was going to grab that thing. And what I was going to do is grab these six different calibers and get 6 blocks of ice and just put them out at 25 yards, make a video, kind of cool, seeing what happens to these 8x8 by 12-inch solid blocks of ice. So I load up all the guns, right? I load up my shooting table. I load up the ice, 2 different coolers. I'm doing my little checklist here, making sure I got everything. I load up my brother and my son, and we drive 35 minutes away, and we get there about 8:30. So we have about an hour of daylight left. I go out. I set up the shooting platform. I set up the first block of ice. I go and I get all the guns staged out. I make a little video, a pre-video, Shane. This is my Mosin Nagant. This is my AK-47. We're going to shoot these ice. And I get my son all positioned because I'm going to let him do all the shooting. And I realize that, sitting 40 miles away is the bag of ammunition. So I was completely and utterly impotent sitting out in the middle of a field with all kinds of weaponry and nothing to do. I can't fire a single one of them. Fortunately, I had one stripper clip of 7.62 by 39, so I could do the video and shoot 6 blocks of ice with the exact same gun over and over and over again. And it was, I had my brother giving me crap all week long. I had my son pissed off at me because here we go on this big, exciting project, and dumb butt dad, who's going to be a Christian rocker soon, leaves all his ammunition sitting at home on the kitchen table. What a bonehead move.
Oh, man. Failure to launch.
That's exactly right. Fail.
Absolute
fail. So tomorrow, for my 4th of July.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what the crowd sounded like. Tomorrow for my 4th of July plans, and then I want to hear what you are going to do with Humor Family. My 4th of July plans tomorrow are a friend of mine from work, Sam, and I are going to get up at 8 in the morning and go out and recreate the vision that I had. But I'm going to go ahead and bring the ammo this time. Yeah, let freedom ring.
America. Celebrate America.
F yeah.
Yeah, I was going to do just about nothing, but my father-in-law is going to have a little get-together, and I think we're going to go and hang out, and he's going to pop some fireworks. People get excited about blowing up things whenever we celebrate America. I guess it's kind of the American tradition. It's what we do here in this country. We blow things up, and so we will we will pay homage to the military-industrial complex, which is what ultimately it becomes. Just a little bit of that, a little gladiatorial. Not that I think it's necessarily bad, and I think that what we have here is a pretty good thing. We still have freedom of speech. We're still able to at least be critical of what's happening to us. We're at least able to protect ourselves in our own home. Some of the things that we take for granted, we enjoy in this country.
Yeah.
You're not going to find anywhere else. So there's a few things that we could still look at, but it's pretty grim, my friend. It's definitely grim in the sense that I think things are going to have to get a lot worse before they get better. I think that we are kind of going into that post-political era where most of the people out there are looking for a new legitimacy. They're looking for a new way to kind of be spiritual now that we have the absence of God and so many of the academics and the academia. So people, it's not necessarily a bad thing in my opinion, but it's a huge shift. And the economy, the dollar, moving into virtual currencies, looking at the way the internet and technology and everything that we do today. It's a very interesting, very dangerous time. I got to agree with you on. I agree with you. I'm probably more pessimistic. I'm definitely more pessimistic than you on the future. But I agree with you on this, Doug. You're not wrong, I believe, when it comes to you and I can still bitch about the government, about the military and security discomfort, about Wall Street. And I don't know if that's, controlled opposition, not that we are controlled, but, let the people vent so that they don't, percolate over and explode. But certainly there are places on this planet. I mean, first of all, there's a lot of free countries. We don't have anything. We're not cornering the market on freedom. In fact, it'd be easy to say that we're not as free as many nations. But the fact that we can still come out and do this is important because you're right. It is going to get worse before it gets better. I mean, there certainly is plenty of signs that speech is, if not completely stifled, certainly monitored, and certainly you put yourself perhaps in jeopardy by expressing your freedom of speech. I don't know if you saw the recent article I read. I believe it was Tuesday. I keep thinking today's Friday. On how the Department of Justice has turned basically into trolls, trying. And this isn't anything specifically, I guess, new. It's been going. You probably have noticed it throughout the last couple of years, but a resurgence in the Justice Department going onto websites, trying to get into chat rooms and acting as a fomenter of hostilities to implement some kind of sting operation, and or more importantly, as this article mentions, going in and trying to counter the revolutionary ideas, and not only of groups like ISIS, but even individuals in this country that want to complain about the government. So there is certainly a government that is paying attention to the words coming out of the mouth of the populace in a way that, in some way, in some aspects, is kind of troubling. Well, it's the battle to control what Wikipedia has written on it, right? The CIA spooks go through Wikipedia and go correct and give us a revisionist history that is, somewhat Western friendly. It shines a nice light on the dirty dealings of the U.S. government and really history in general. I think that if we can just get past the fact that, yes, we've done a lot of evil things in this country. Our country has facilitated the intelligence services, have facilitated a lot of horrific things throughout the past. I think if we could come to grips with that and just move on and say those are the kind of things that we have to eradicate so that there's legitimacy. Once again, the United States can really speak on behalf of the American people on a legitimate platform. So, I do, I guess, have a little hopium. I am kind of optimistic about where we can go in the future, and I think a lot of people are moving that way. And I think that there's, when you look at the nullification movement, it scares a lot of the progressives and those trying to control, I think, free speech, like Southern Poverty Law Center. Like, they don't take you to jail in this country. Donald Sterling's a fine example. They're not going to take you to jail but you will be shunned, and they will use the color of law and the
or
political,
kill you.
or well, there's that in the media, the media assassination against people like that's very effective. You may have to atone for the things that you say, Charlie McGrath, if you wanted to go work for a company like IBM.
Yeah.
And one day you say, hey, I'd like to be a salesman for IBM. I want to sell chips to China or whatever it may be. And they're like, oof, we just Googled you, Charlie McGrath, and you've got some pretty colorful speech on your YouTube channel. We don't know if we want to be if you're brand safe or if we want to be affiliated with that. So,
no doubt.
I think that you and I both have made some very impactful decisions that really do highlight how we feel about freedom of speech, and why we're willing to, I think, challenge that. And it's very, very important. I think that's something we should not take for granted, because even some of these cheerleaders for Russia and the like. I mean, if you see what's happening there with free speech and basically banning cussing and other very strict decency laws. I saw this picture from Police State USA, and it was of this cop on a beach right there in Washington, D.C., right next to the big monument. What is it? Is it the Jefferson
Washington Monument?
Yeah, the big phallic.
Washington
obelisk.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, and there's a police officer out there, and he's measuring the women's bathing suits. He's out there in a full three-piece suit out there, making sure.
Is that for real? Are you making that up?
No, it's absolutely real. Yeah, I mean,
That's
there's
awesome.
Decency Police. And so, you look back and you realize how silly some of those things were. And so we have a lot more freedom. We can actually take our clothes off. You could do this show half naked, Charlie McGrath, and nobody's going to take you to Gitmo yet.
Yeah, well, that's a damn good thing, because I am virtually.
Thank you, babe.
Virtually nude, babe.
Nice.
Yeah, that's nice of Babe to bring you coffee, helping you through the doom, helping you through the cast. Yeah, Doug. Look, I do believe that you're right. I also feel that sometimes that the establishment, right? They just don't care. They could give a crap. They don't care if you were bitching about things or if I'm bitching about things.
They don't.
They got it all well in hand, well under control, and it isn't like they're. I had Gary Hendershot on my last program that I did right before Doomcast tonight, and I was talking a little bit about if you took the current situation of this nation, with all the facets of corruption, and this is Wall Street, this is the political process, or the dysfunction in the political process, the prosecution of war around this planet, the build out of the security and the military industrial complex. If you took this current situation and you transported it back in time to 1967, let's say, in this point in time, 1967, you had a populace, a fair percentage of the populace that was freaking out. I mean, freaking out, protesting at every turn, be it civil rights or the Vietnam War. And truly, some of these things turned violent, but certainly the energy was there. If you took our current condition and put it back into that realm, or at least had that mentality transported to our time, these people would be absolutely, totally losing their mind. And we do see some energy from the people in this country, but it's quickly diverted, it's quickly subverted and converted into something totally different, usually wrapped up into the right or the left political parties, and then completely nullified, done away with. So I do think that, what do you want to call it? You want to call it manipulation? You want to call it population control? Not in the number sense, but in the mental sense. This power structure understands that there's going to be a percentage of people, Doug Owen included, myself included, that are going to bitch and point out, but who cares? Because they have the power, they have the control, and the vast majority of the people are going to just slap it up as if it's some kind of delicious treat.
Well, I think that there's a lot of those people that are watching it, but if you look at the numbers across the board, and I think, number one, we have more apathy, but and that's very dangerous. But when it comes to TV and the people that are really keeping up with the political saga, I think that they are kind of removed from average Americans out there that are just kind of unaffected. I mean, I talk to a lot of those people. They're just like, whatever. The news is BS. They see through the majority of the political rhetoric. They're not one of the people playing the game. One of the people that's rooting for the team. It's like you and I. We watch football, but you're not so caught up in it that it's this emotional roller coaster for you. I think a lot of people are like that with politics. You find people that are just emphatic about being a Democrat. You drive behind them. They have bumper stickers all over their car, and you just find these party zealots. I think that's a small percentage of the population these days, and more people, because of the crime, the corruption, the asinine things that government does. The fact that at every turn, Obama, Congress, the Senate, the Supreme Court justices are doing exactly what the people, the popularity of these things is just diminishing and against the free will of people. Then people are just kind of nullifying the state. It doesn't become nearly as important. I mean, case in point, not that I'm a huge virtual currency guy. I'm not against. I just I think that California now accepting bitcoins to pay taxes changes the whole game in a lot of ways, because it shows that the state is desperate to remain relevant, and they have to just take whatever they can get. And if it's Bitcoin, they're going to do that. And that's what really gives things legitimacy, all of these national currencies. So I think we are escaping some of the things that we used to have, a controlled media, controlled printing press. And that doesn't mean that we're not going to have a lot of problems and there's not going to be a lot of exploitation. But I see a lot of things that are pretty promising in the fact that people are just saying, okay, we have problems, rather than asking government for every solution, people just going out there and doing it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that there's more people waking up. I mean, overall, that's what I would call what you just described.
Because that's the biggest thing. I mean, once you're well aware of what's happening, then it's what do you do with that? Does that help you out? Does that make you change your day-to-day decisions? Does that play into your game plan for succeeding in life? And if it does, you're going to be ahead of the curve. There's no doubt about it, because knowledge is power. But once you can remove the emotional investment that media wants you to put into all of these things that are happening, whether it's the immigration debate, I mean, the emotional strings that they attach to all of these issues,
no doubt
make it, I mean, it drives people nuts. I get it all the time. People are like, oh my God, man, have you heard about this? Have you heard about that? And it's this huge deal. But, 2 weeks later, it's not an issue at all. I mean, look at the Nigerian girls being kidnapped. Nobody cares anymore.
Yeah.
It was just a thing that people cared about, and they put it on Twitter, and people were aware and were outraged. And then when that didn't pan out and there wasn't an easy solution to intervene militarily, people, as quickly as they were interested, became disinterested.
Yeah, so, certainly a product of I was going to say 24-hour news cycles, but I think even that that has been reduced to the 12-hour news cycle. I
mean, the missing MH-370 plane. I mean, that saga continues on.
Yeah, that had legs. That made it for several weeks. And when's the last time you heard a story that? When's the last time you heard a story?
The Runaway Bride is the best one of all time. I don't know if there's one that's going to top that. I think the Runaway Bride was one of the things in my early 20s that really incensed me about the media. I'm like, this is not real anymore. When we have 24-hour coverage of this white chick that decided to leave her husband at the altar, when that becomes the number one story, when we have a war in Iraq, I'm out.
God, I can't remember her name. I remember what you're talking about, but I can't. Do you remember her name?
It doesn't matter, probably.
It really is irrelevant, isn't it?
It really doesn't matter. That was the point. Who cares?
But you're right. You're right. It was 24/7, and it had legs, and inevitably, the stories that are the least important. And that sounds kind of judgmental. I get to decide what's important, what's not important. But really, the runaway bride, who gives a crap? But it is the kind of sensational news. I absolutely hated the movie Anchorman 2. My son forced me to watch it with him the other night. Forced me to watch it with him. And the only thing of value out of that is the fact that it was a parody on the creation of 24-hour news and how real news took a backseat to shock news, and the car chase and the irrelevant news that makes it to the airwaves that becomes important news just because all the news stations are covering it. That's on the assumption that there isn't some grand plot in order to pacify and dumb down the news viewing audience to not pay attention to true stories, important stories. What's going on with the alleged war on terror? What's going on in Ukraine? Who cares? We're going to pay attention to the runaway bride or OJ's car chase or something that's completely and utterly put there for shock value. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And you see it in the internet now, really taking flight with just these outlandish headlines. I think we talked about this. I'm having deja vu, but how the headlines become clickbait. 35 ways to please your wife, but but that no one told you, or even worse than that, just things that are really half truths. A really good one that got me was that California was exporting fresh water to China. I'm like, this is just outrageous. We have a drought. we have farmers that are getting denied water by the federal government, on and on and on. Well, I get into the story, and they're using a lot of water and actually allocating water to growing alfalfa, and then that alfalfa is being exported to China. So by proxy, I guess that's true, but it's a shocking headline. You're like, oh my God! You just think about these. Immediately, what you think is that there are these huge transits of fresh water, maybe a freshwater pipeline going from a reservoir to China. It gets your mind reeling, and you end up clicking it. And it's nothing like what the title. Completely misleading.
They're loading up watertight containers with Aquafina and kicking it over.
That's what I thought immediately.
Yeah.
Just that's your initial impression, before you.
Amen to that. And notice my God references because I will be the next Christian rock star. Praise the Lord.
Oh my God!
But you're 1,000% right. There isn't a so-called alleged news site that you don't go to and you get the top 10. And you know what? Or top whatever. Top 13 ways to please your woman. Top 13 stupidest movies ever made. Top 13 scenes that should have been deleted. And I don't know why I'm picking 13. I should be picking 33 in honor of Craig. But
47 was very esoteric and occultish. Somebody I don't know if they were complaining or just bringing it to our attention. Did you get that email about 47?
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, it was just interesting. It's like,
What'd they say? Tell me what they said.
Well, just basically the references, the occult references. You can Google it. But did
to the number 47, or did we do something?
I don't know if they thought that we just called it Doomcast 47 because we might be part of the Illuminati, or they're just bringing us a little bit of attention to how that number could be esoteric. I don't know. They didn't seem to.
Ergo, I don't care.
Ergo, does not matter.
Yeah.
Something that
and that's the thing. I love comments, and the people that tune in all the time, I do. And are constantly. I talked about this with Craig the other night. This is Doug. Maybe this is my defense mechanism from. Let me tell you right now. 1,400 plus uploads on YouTube. I'm gonna give.
You know what I've been getting a lot, and I think you get a lot of it too. Is that I really love you, man. You have great analysis, but it's that McGrath guy. Oh man, he's bringing you
sucks.
down.
He sucks. He's an anchor that's going to take you to the bottom of the bottom of the Mariana Trench. You got to cut it loose now, Doug, before it's over.
Well, and people, there's a few guys that thought that you were being really rude and
I probably was
over driving me, and that
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Now,
so It's
Yeah.
funny to see how people, or not funny, it's just interesting to see the different impressions of how people think that you and I are actually being towards one another. Because
I get it too. I get it too. Both. I
Back
love
at the
you.
base.
Yeah, I love you. I hate Doug. I love Doug. I hate you. And I think maybe this gives me a little more understanding or a little more thicker skin. I don't know how to say it, but 1,206 uploads is what I'm currently sitting at on YouTube. Now, a great portion of them are me in commentary videos. And a lot of them are, shooting videos or other programs or whatever. But let's say half of them are me, 600 plus commentary videos. And every commentary video, you're talking 30 to 500 comments. And I get them all. And there came a point, probably about 1,000 subscribers and a couple hundred videos, where I realized that I was expending an exorbitant amount of energy trying to rationalize, justify, clarify, bring to peace a situation from somebody who didn't understand what I was trying to say in the first place, or it was a troll, or was a super fan, or whatever. And the truth of the matter is, we are at such an extreme disadvantage when it comes to trying to respond, because we have so much invested and we have so much content that regardless of what somebody's perspective is, they can find a reason to hate Doug Owen. They can find a reason to love Doug Owen. They can find a reason to think this is the best show ever. They can find a reason to think this is the worst show ever. So it gets to a point where I love the comments and keep them coming. However, it is a fact that if you don't take them with a grain of salt, then you're doing yourself. I'm speaking personally myself. I was doing myself a disservice, because instead of being concerned about bringing and delivering, as far as commentary videos go, what was passionate to me, I would be wasting very important and valuable energy trying to do the corrections or the appeasements. And so I just gave up. I just gave up. Did
it feel good? You're just like,
it felt liberating. I would look at the comments coming in on a video, and people like Craig, or people like Tim McGraw, or people like Fuber, or people like Skybird, people who are so dedicated that they watch every single video, they comment on every single video. Even if they disagreed with me, I would acknowledge, I will try to acknowledge their comments, just so they know that, yes, I'm reading them, because I appreciate that kind of loyalty and support. But the rest of them, good, bad, or otherwise, I just don't go there, because I feel that the comment section of anything isn't for me. It isn't a platform for me to defend myself. It is for the people who watch or listen to the videos. It is for the audience to debate amongst themselves. If they want to address something to me, they're going to be extremely disappointed. But usually what happens in these comment areas is people get to throw their idea or opinion out there. That's outstanding. Or they get to banter and fight with somebody else in the comment section. I'm stepping away because, like I said, there's plenty of ammunition that I give everybody to love me, to hate me, or to be indifferent. I cannot defend myself or make a case in, a 300 or 500 or 600 letter comment response. So I just don't do it. And yeah, it was absolutely liberating.
Yeah. I think that's where you really have to be to get past the internet. I think that people, when you come to the internet, you find out that you have a global voice and that you can say all sorts of horrible things to people, or you can say things that are just, very empowering, give people accolades, but you have instant access to reach out to any kind of public figure. You can go right on Twitter right now and just start yelling at LeBron James, and he might check his feed and see that you are there, and he has a choice. He can block you or maybe even retweet some of the nasty things that you've said. If you're not a fan of him. And so you get a lot of that kind of stuff. I think that if you can say, well, you're not really hurting my feelings, and I don't even delete it. I just let people say whatever they want for the most part. But I actually did respond to one that was, I wouldn't go as far as snarky, but just saying that I was kind of condescending to you, and that you're
see, that's it. You're not. Yeah, but that's it. I need, people need to know this, that sometimes Doug and I are going to disagree. Sometimes Doug's going to steamroll over me. Sometimes I'm going to steamroll over Doug. That's just the way it is.
That's the energy level that you bring to the show. Sometimes you're much more energetic. Sometimes I'm just ready to bloodlet as well.
Right. And you know what? I do it on Wide Awake News Radio. You do it on your podcast. It's just the way it is. People talk. If you and I were sitting literally across from one another, then that would never happen because we could see each other. But we're not. And
you might punch me in my face.
Nah, never. I'm not a violent guy. Well, for the most part.
Sure.
But if we're not, what I was going to say is, if we were sitting across from one another, I was going to say until you steamrolled me, if we were sitting across from each other, we would never do that. We would never step on each other's toes. And the fact that you're sitting in Austin and I'm sitting in Bozeman, and we've done 48 of these together, most of the time we don't. And once in a while we do. Once in a while I come dragging ass to the program, and I need Doug to, and I don't want to ever do that. And usually it's fun like it is tonight. And even though I'm tired, it's been a hellish week. It gives me energy, and I can run with it. That's why this is my favorite hour of the week. But there has been Doomcast where I've just sit back and I'm like, yeah, Doug, do the heavy lifting, brother. And I'm sure vice versa. So it is just the way it is. And feel free to comment and hate Doug, hate me, hate Doomcast, love Doug, love me, love Doomcast. We'll read the comments, but know at the end of the day that this is a labor of love. We want you to listen and participate, but you're not going to appease everybody. You just
make bad Photoshop of us, and we'll retweet it on the Doomcast show handle.
Yeah, well, good luck with that, because you're never going to outdo the master, Craig Simpson.
You know what? Craig said that his cousin was a roadie, and the guys in Striper got him addicted to drugs. So
really,
yeah.
Wait, whoa, Striper?
Striper. I mean, it makes perfect sense. I mean, you find
crushed. I'm crushed. Striper, my Sorry. Jesus band, my Jesus group.
They're a bunch of drug heads.
That was my motto.
Using Jesus to get high.
Jesus. I want to talk about. Can I talk about Ukraine?
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you did an on point this week, but go ahead.
Well, go ahead. I go ahead and ask. Yeah, I did. I did not do a point.
How did that go, or not?
I'm still. Look, I'm. Doomer Dog about to go bat crap crazy over here. I'm still. I haven't done an on point this week. I'm probably going to end up doing 2 next week. I had a guest fall through, but I'm still. Ross Caputi, the veteran who has the Fallujah Project, who was my last interview on the Boiling Frog Post. I've been corresponding with him because I absolutely want to support the work that he's doing. I want people to go to his site and help as they can because of the courage of this guy. And, Doug, Doug Owen, you know that I do as well as you. We cover this news all the time, and it takes a lot to get me emotionally invested in a story. But I think it's just because of the background, right? The military background that you have, as well as Craig. His story of Fallujah and what happened there, and the decimation and the destruction of the death, and his courage to step outside of the Marine Corps. And step outside of, what the status quo is, which is you were supposed to be this proud soldier, this proud Marine, and not ever say anything derogatory about what you did. But his courage to do that still has me to the point where I think about it every single day. And that, I don't know. I mean, it's unfortunate in one aspect because On Point, which I like doing, Gary Hendershot and I do it weekly. I was a little bummed out because it's subscription only, and I want more people to see that, even people that can't afford, whatever it is, $5 a month or whatever to subscribe to the Boiling Frog Post to see that interview. So I'll be having Ross on Wide Awake News Radio here. In fact, next Thursday he's going to be my guest on there. So to answer your question, did I do an on point this week? No, but I will be doing probably 2 next week, and it's going very, very well. The subscription thing, it kind of weirds me out because I'm so used to having my content be absolutely free. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's hard because you want to promote and reach new people, and it's kind of a try before you buy scenario with most people, and it's hard to get people to buy, because there's just so many other people out there that are producing content that want that as well, or that are willing to give it out for free. So,
right.
But I understand. Yeah. But at the same time, I mean, obviously, what we're doing now, we could never really expand it at this current capacity because, quite frankly, the amount of time, energy, and money that we actually put into this. I mean, I'm about to put quite a chunk of investment into sound and audio production for the show.
Yeah, you and Craig are forcing me this weekend to go out and get some new equipment.
Really?
Namely, this little guy right here is going to get retired. This microphone.
All right. Well, you should make a video of you shooting it with an AK-47.
Oh, I love this mic. It smells like me.
Resist, we much.
Yeah, that guy. That dude.
That dude. Well, I mean, there are a few other things I think that we should talk about. What's happening with the Doomcast softball team? Anything?
Oh, sweet Jesus! Back to my Christian rocker. Listen, I think it might have been the worst investment I've ever made, which is sponsoring Team Doomcast. We started out hot, Doug Owen. We started out hot. Started out 3-1. Right at the beginning of the season, and we're sitting now at a magnificent 8-3. Doug Owen, 8-3. Yeah, and here's the reason why I broke. Yeah, I think I understand what's going on here. Team Doomcast, like our audience, is chock packed with extremely beautiful women. And it's a co-ed team, and we have some guys that are pretty significant athletes on Team Doomcast, but they're Twitter-pated. I swear, I've watched a few, and it's like all they want to do is try to impress these women. So they're going up and their bat, instead of trying to do a base hit, they're going for the fences every time, and they're just missing the mark. So, it's an embarrassment, and I apologize. But right now we're sitting at this ridiculous record. The season's probably not going to get better. I can tell you that there's some absolute eye candy on Team Doomcast, but that is about the most positive thing I can say about the performance to this point. I will say Ashley, she is the head. She's the coach of Team Doomcast, and also a collegiate level softball player, and the best.
What's happening? Hot stuff.
And absolutely smoking hot. She is sitting at, I believe, 14 home runs on the season, and so she's having as far as the league goes, she's in the top second or third spot as far as home runs and RBIs. So we have some absolutely good talent. They just can't put it all together. I think Ashley needs to be more player and less coach, and she's actually asked me, "Hey man, you want to come out and do some coaching for us?"
Is that how she sounds? Hey man.
Except for the, "Hey man, I know I'm really beautiful and everything, but do you want to come out and do some coaching for us?" I'm like, I'm gonna step back. In fact, can I get the t-shirts back?
Coaching should be easy. You just pat people on their butts, tell them good job, get in there, good hustle, watch that ball, watch it.
Yeah, a little bit less beer before the 7th inning stretch. That might be some good advice for Team Doomcast. It is nice to see a bunch of Doomcasters out there, and I will say that the team all follows a program at this point. They're probably going to be mad at me for my analysis, but you know what? Play better, and I'll do some better reporting. Suck it up, Team Doomcast. You're really stinking it up out there.
Get over it.
Yeah.
Don't be mamby-pambies.
Yeah, when you get thudded 17-4 by Team Johnny Lube, it's time to reconsider your effort.
Johnny Lube, come on.
Team Johnny Lube. Johnny Lube's thumped us.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah.
So, did you hear about the wood pulp in the burgers? It's a big story, and it's pretty I think indicative of where we're at today. And people will be eating a lot of hot dogs tomorrow. We're gonna get those crazy fun statistics of how many Americans shove their face full of hot dogs and bratwursts and burgers. So they found out that one of the secret ingredients in your burgers, Quartz published this article, Devin Cohen, titled, "There is a secret ingredient in your burgers. It's wood pulp." It's one of the ways that Burger King and most of those flame-broiled burgers that you get, or even just ground beef, even at the market, unless it's organic, grass-fed, or something that you can source. Good chance that you might be, if it's cheap and you're getting it at a clearinghouse deal, could have actual wood pulp in it. But Michael over at libertyblitzkrieg.com broke down a few other studies recently. New study shows 59% of tuna sold in the United States isn't tuna. There's another study that showed that food fraud soared 60% last year. And just this week, another report that basically the FDA does not inspect anything at all. Really. Coming in from China and the like. So,
I want to comment on that because I want to validate that. But I do want to know the wood pulp sitch. So what percentage of the Burger King flame broiled burger? Yeah, I mean, are they saying that they're adding sprinkling in a bit of wood pulp in order to extend the meat that's $9 a pound?
Yeah, we'll put this in the table of contents on the YouTube video. Quartz article here says, quote, "There may be more fiber in your food than you realize. Burger King, McDonald's, and other fast food companies list in the ingredients of several of their foods microcrystalline cellulose or powdered cellulose as components of their menu items, or in plain English, wood pulp. The emulsion stabilizing, cleaning, and improving anti-caking substance operates under multiple aliases ranging from powdered cellulose to cellulose powder, methyl cellulose to cellulose gum. The entrance of this non-absorbable fiber into fast food ingredients has been stealthy yet widespread." And this is how we're just seeing so much of this today.
Yeah,
it's this window dressing as the empire bankrupts. We're living in a world where we're just putting window dressing. We're just astroturfing, everything. And
yeah,
so,
no, I agree. And like I said, I wanted to comment on that a little bit because you talk about the FDA, and I'm going to talk about the ASTM, which is, this is testing criteria in built. Are you familiar?
Man,
Are you familiar?
No, I was just thinking about what ASTM could actually stand for.
Asked them. You got ASTM. You're in the electronics business, so the products that you're installing, I mean, they have to have rating, right? Test criteria.
UL is the big one.
Right. Okay. Well, Underwriters Laboratory would use ASTM standards. So let's say you're installing an electrical panel. That electrical panel is going to be tested and have a UL stamp on it. But when it was tested, it was used by the test criteria used more than likely was an ASTM standard. Does that make sense?
Yeah. They revise these things. There's a lot of it. There's ANSI and
yes.
There's a bunch of them.
Right. And in the building industry, my corner of it, especially when it comes to roofing and new construction, that kind of thing, is so dominated by ASTM. What I'm finding out, though, in the development of new products, the manufacturing of new products, especially sourcing from the politically correct term Pacific Rim, which I'm going to go ahead and say what it is, the slave markets of China, I'm finding that not only is ASTM referenced, which it is, because you have to put it in front of an architect, you better have these right numbers behind it. But you talk about FDA not inspecting anything. The governance behind the ridiculous amount of criteria is non-existent. So what I'm finding is products by literally the shipload come in with claimed testing that have none behind it. And
Something wrong?
Yeah, and what's wrong with it is there's no governance behind it. I literally, if you had product A and I have product B, And you and I, in our products, A and B, is a similar product. We're both making the same type widget. If you claim to have ASTM testing to a certain standard, and I have the ASTM testing to a certain standard, maybe I spent $40, $50, $60, $100,000 to achieve this testing through a company like UL, Underwriters Laboratory, or Intratech, or one of these other massive testing facilities.
Right.
And I spent the fundage to do it. Well, there's nothing preventing you with widget B that is similar to mine in composition to say that you have it. And maybe you got a letter from the factory in China saying, yeah, I've got these ASTM standards met, and that's it. That there is nothing else to go on other than the word of the manufacturer or the word of the distributor. It is rampant, and it is.
I mean, that's the you see a lot of that in the cabling industry. You know, you have to have something that's a certified Lucent product in a building. And so, well, what does that mean? Well, that means if you sell Lucent and they come out there and you haven't done too bad of a job, then they're going to give you the certification that's going to meet the contracting requirement, and it's going to be good to go. Just a funny anecdote. I was doing a job for the Corps of Engineers, and it was an overhead paging system in a fire station.
Right.
And it was pretty cool. I mean, the building, because I didn't know much about it, but everything has to be explosion-proof. There's a lot of, red tape. And, of course, when the government does anything, it's a long, built-out process. They spec special parts that are almost impossible to get. And when these contracts go through, sometimes this could take up to 7 years. So things that were manufactured at the time are no longer there. You have to kind of cross-reference and go through this whole legal process of getting certain parts actually through and spec'd for the job so that you can install them. So anyway, one of the things that, and I'm not sure what the current situation is, but 80% of the stuff that you installed had to be American made. So we had all of these Bogen amplifiers, and Bogen at one time made amplifiers inside of the United States of America. Now they make them in the Pacific Rim. It comes out of Vietnam, I think. Or maybe it might be the Philippines. Nonetheless,
obviously not America.
So yeah, their solution, here's the payoff, was to Sharpie out the made in Korea. It was Korea, made in Korea tags that they had all over them, and all of the nameplates and anything that referenced Korea, just to get rid of that. And that was the big fix. And we're like, really? We're going to do this? You really want me to go around this place and just Sharpie out everything that says Korea? Okay.
Well, and the side note is, the end result is there is this feeling of you have this assurance that A, your products met these specifications, or B, it's made in the U.S. But the reality is, I'd hate to put a percentage on it. From my experience over the last 3 years, developing product that was built in China, and then going through testing procedures to the tune of millions of dollars, and then going through the inspection process through, ports and containers and that kind of thing. I would say that you have a 50-50 shot of getting what you think or what is claimed. Honestly, Doug, and probably being a little bit optimistic with that 50% number. I mean, it is, in a lot of cases.
At some point, it's going to get so bad and so expensive, and energy is going to cost so much, it's going to bring manufacturing back to the United States, and they'll have all these illegal immigrant slaves to work in the factories to the bone.
Cha-ching. Yeah.
American Apparel, sweating, making stuff for Kathy Lee Gifford and the Carlisle Group.
Well, good thing we got the young ones rolling across the border as we speak.
¿Se habla inglés? Do you know how to sew? Come with me, kids.
Here's the deal. We're an hour and so into this thing, and I do want to touch on Ukraine just a little. It's the one real headline I wanted to bring to the program tonight, because I said I am ready to chomp down on a little bit of crow. First of all, you've been following it, correct? You've been following the return to violence inside Ukraine.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, so anyway, we had just a brief synopsis, right? We had Poroshenko, the Chocolate King, coming out a week ago, issuing 2 weeks ago rather, issuing the promise of a ceasefire. Was supposed to end Friday. It was going to end Friday, the exact same day that Ukraine was subject to assigning him a contract with the European Union, but mainly to the International Monetary Fund that was promising to bring in all kinds of austerity onto a nation that is already devastated economically, even though they have some of the most lucrative energy resources running through their country of any place else on the planet. So Poroshenko wanted the violence to be halted because it was part of the IMF structure of their loans to indebt Ukraine. They had to get control of their nation, and there could be no further secession or no further advancement of Russia into Ukraine. Well, that ceasefire came to an end Friday, then was extended to Monday. Since then, and that was since the last Doomcast, where I predicted, guess what? This is not going to go away. It certainly hasn't. We have the Ukraine military continuing or reinitiating the assault against the so-called terrorists, which or otherwise known as freedom fighters, depending on what hat you're wearing. But the level of carnage is something that has not been seen to the fighting to this point. We have artillery inside of villages, kids, women being killed, civilians by scores being killed. Not only artillery, but outright airstrikes on villages. And that is our current situation. So I feel that I don't have to eat crow tonight, but I want your opinion on that matter.
Well, I think that Poroshenko, he's a U.S. friendly. He's an elite. He's the chocolate king. He has a lot of money, and he was courted for up to 6 months that we know of here with the State Department. So he has been injected into this position. If the election, they had an election, did they? Correct me if I'm wrong.
They had it after they installed him. Yeah, I mean, yes, they had an election.
Yeah, 50 some odd % of the people weren't able to vote. I don't know, but there was election monitors. I don't know. I don't think any of them are ever legitimate. So
right. And let's be honest, the Ukraine is a cesspool when it comes, and this is the former regime, right? This is the former regime that backed Russia and the current regime that backs the U.S. It is a cesspool of oligarchs, and so I'm not trying to join sides here.
No.
But we worked very hard and spent a lot of your money in order to make sure we had the right kind of disgusting oligarch in power that is going to support the IMF, the EU, NATO, and the West. So that is what Poroshenko is. And let's not forget, he looks just like a Nazi Frankenstein, without a doubt.
Well, yeah, and I mean the coup that overthrew the government and had installed the Poroshenko government basically gave legitimacy to him through this idea that there was people there that really did want this change, and of course the assassination of police that is still not really the fruits of the investigation haven't come to light. So.
Nor will for decades.
Right. Yeah. So, making the same exact claim that we saw the president in Syria, Assad, use,
right.
And that is that we're bombing and shelling terrorists. That is deemed unacceptable. But that is the same exact legal excuse that Poroshenko is using. And, of course, the CIA and the FBI are on the ground. They are advising Poroshenko. So how much of this is independent of U.S. intervention is anybody's guess. But I would say probably none. This guy is completely bought and paid for, installed by the U.S. government. So he's getting direction from the FBI and CIA, and they are the ones that are fighting this war, and they call it an ATO, an anti-terrorist operation. So this is the exact same thing that Assad is saying. So I don't think that Assad's a good guy necessarily or a friendly. I doubt he is, but when you're looking at all of the bad guys in the region and the problem that you have in Ukraine is just there's rampant corruption.
Right.
And there always has been, and it's the state has become destabilized over and over again because of that. So the U.S. decides to intervene. Now it becomes another quagmire, another mess that we've created.
And we have now, we have now the head of NATO talking about the need for a more permanent presence in Eastern Europe. We have the Polish defense minister welcoming the permanent presence of U.S. troops, which are now there and on the ground, permanently based in Poland, and then coming out talking about in private accidentally being released how oral sex was given to the United States with nothing in return. So that region of Europe has always
Polish reach around. I guess that's what they call that.
Yeah, Polish reach around. They didn't get one of those, but
lack thereof. Yeah.
Yeah, but that region of Europe has always been contentious at best. It is still trying to recover from Soviet rule, and the reason that I'm so infatuated and adamant that we keep our eyes on that is because of not because of Ukraine in and of itself, although it's disgusting to see what's happening to the civilians of Ukraine in the name of fighting terrorism. We're having, like I said, scores of civilians killed. It seems almost on a daily basis at this point. And it's not even because of the American presence there. In that region, and it promises to become greater. That is something to be concerned about, without a doubt. But what has convinced me that this is going to continue to escalate and grow is because the West, this Western Empire, this New World Order, or maybe even Old World Order, cannot go any further east than they have with Ukraine. Russia understands this, and their most lucrative energy pathway goes through this country. It is very, very pivotal for the EU to get their claws into Ukraine, and it is very, very critical that Russia maintains control, at least of their energy resources through Ukraine. So, all the bull crap about freedom and about democracy and about the advancement of Ukraine, it is exactly that bull crap. The true story is we will, openly sacrifice American lives and certainly American treasure for the security of, or for securing rather, those energy resources and that pathway for the International Monetary Fund.
Well, not only that, and just to add upon what you've laid out there, I would say that this also gives the opportunity for the United States to remain relevant, to push Russia out of the G7, okay, to push them to put sanctions, to try to isolate Russia, because what you're having is this, I think, resistance to the old world order and the U.S. dollar as the global world reserve currency. So Vladimir Putin's trying to use this opportunity to bring in the BRIC investment banks and the like. The United States and Europe are trying to use this opportunity, this crisis, to bring about more money for the militarization of NATO, making the North Atlantic Treaty operation, expanding it to new countries and to get lots and lots of funding. And ultimately, it's a big corporate protection racket. It's about protecting pipelines. It's going to be about going in and securing the assets of the United States, and what that really comes down to is Fortune 500 companies.
That's right.
Like so.
And one more reason why I am all
So
on
why
board.
Are you eating crow? I kind of missed that.
No. Oh, come on, put the crow away. Put the crow away, because I said last week that that the ceasefire is a sham, and fighting will resume, and it's going to be very bloody, and it's going to continue to get worse. And Doug Owen, if that is not the case by next Doomcast, then I will be more than happy to endure that hideous crow once again.
Okay, yeah, but I agree with you. I don't think that it's going to get. I don't know. At some point, I think you're going to see where Russia they get the choice on the ground whether or not they're going to I think continue to support or loosely turn blind eye to the weaponry and whatnot. And I honestly think
that I think this is a KGB operation. Honestly, I think Putin is sending the T-90 or the T-72s. He's sending the shoulder fire anti-aircraft missiles. I truly, I mean, you talked about a Russian supporter, and I know I sound like one because of interviews I do on RT and Press TV on this topic. But I am trying to pick, I believe, the side that is the lesser of the two evils. But I truly believe that
you're still choosing evil. You're still siding with evil.
No, I agree. Well, I'm giving analysis on evil at the end of the day. And again, it motivates me to become this massive Jesus rocker. Bada, bada, Jesus.
Don't quit your day job, Charlie McGrath.
I'm taking voice lessons. I'm getting better. You can admit it. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was supposed to be a cricket. I want to thank also, because I didn't earlier in the program, Ray D, who gave $50 to Wide Awake News. I'm going to assume that was meant for Wide Awake News / Doomcast. And Ray, thank you very much. I appreciate the support, and our good friends who are showing up here every single month. Sarah Kay. As an example. Who else last week, Doug, promised to give us $20 every week or every month?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that have continued to support the show, and we want to, definitely credit all of them, and we do appreciate it. We do need more support. We do want to expand this, and just like everything else, it's inflating. Time is more valuable, and it's harder and harder to just give the attention that it requires. So please support the show.
If this program, if it is a release, that sounds dirty, doesn't it? And I can't be saying words like these with my new career path.
Choose your words carefully there, Charlie McGrath.
If this program is therapy, as it is for Doug and myself, if it makes you smile, if it gives you an hour that you don't have to be wrapped up in the headlines of the day and experience that tension, and I'm speaking for myself, that's what it does for me. If it is a benefit to you, please continue to support this program. I am going to go out and probably drop $1,000 this weekend, Doug. I need a new system, not only for the microphone, but I need a new system as far as desktop that is going to be dedicated solely for my broadcast efforts and my recording efforts, because it's so taxing, and I want to make sure that I have a crystal clear connection. You can hear me okay, and the audience can hear me okay. So, as you said before, you have this regular outlay, and we do appreciate, and it is consistent, the people who are ponying up every single week. But you've never in 48.
We need some new people. We need some fresh blood out there. So if you can't support us that way, support us by expanding the show. We keep it free, so that way we can promote it, and you can help us by doing that as well if you don't have the financial means.
Yeah, and what I was going to say is this is the 48th Doomcast. We're pushing almost a year. We're just a few weeks away from a year, and you've never heard a commercial. You've never heard a pitch. You've never heard a plug for a product, because we have made the determination to keep it, to make it commercial-free and to keep it commercial-free. And you guys who are supporting the program are making that possible, but we need more support. So Doomcast.com, hit the support button. If you support at wideawakenews.com, it gets thrown into the Doomcast kitty. My name is Charlie McGrath. My website is wideawakenews.com. My co-founder is Doug Owen, blacklistednews.com. If you want to send me a message, info at wideawakenews.com. Doug Owen is Doug at blacklistednews.com. Give them the other sites, Doug, to go to listen to us at Twitter.
Doomcast.com. Yeah, /Doomcast Show on Twitter. And, of course, the Spreaker channel is there. All the links are at Doomcast.com. So just go there, click it, be part of the show, and thanks for all that you do as well.
We'll be back here next week, number 49, coming at you.